We will call the meeting to order. This is a public meeting this evening in regards to some planning items. If you have not signed the paper when you came in, please do so when you leave so that there's a record that you've been at the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask if there's disclosure of interest. As there is none, we have a resolution adopting the agenda as amended with the following additional items. Reports of municipal officers, 7E, Report 2024.50, resident comments on ZBLA 07-2024, Hawkwell attaching a letter from Itzka Westbrook, and a letter from Rod and Maggie Annis concerns reset LA 07-2024, Hawkwell. Any further changes or additions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Clerk will now read our procedures.
This is a public meeting to consider amendments to the zoning bylaw under the Planning Act RSO 1990 as amended. This act requires that a public meeting be held prior to council passage of any zoning bylaw amendment. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the municipality of Oliver Punj before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the municipality of Oliver Punj to the Ontario Land Tribunal and may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so.
Thank you. The first one on the agenda today is zoning bylaw amendment ZBLA 05-2024. It's an application on behalf of the municipality of Oliver Papoonge to amend the municipality of Oliver Papoonge comprehensive zoning bylaw 01-2019 relating to secondary dwellings minimum square footage. With the planning department, please read their report.
Thank you. So with many residents now opting to construct accessory dwellings on their property, administration has been challenged over the current wording in our comprehensive zoning bylaw. Specifically, sections 3.2.1 and 3.2.2 indicate that an accessory dwelling shall not exceed 60 meters squared for an interior or 105 meters squared for an exterior, or 40% of the floor area of the principal dwelling unit, including the basement, whichever is less. The confusion is what constitutes a basement, as the definition does not specify if it's only livable space. This housekeeping amendment will eliminate the percentages and rely solely on the maximum size allowed based on the meters squared value. The primary purpose of our official plan is to provide for managing growth that will support and emphasize the municipality's character and have a positive impact on the quality of life for the citizens who live and work in Oliver Papoonge. Secondary dwelling units are laid out under section 3.27 of the official plan. As this housekeeping amendment proposes to eliminate the 40% requirement when determining the size of an accessory or secondary dwelling, and the official plan does not provide for size requirements, this application conforms to the official plan. Currently, the zoning bylaw provides the following. For an interior accessory dwelling unit, section 3.2.1 states, the floor area of the interior accessory dwelling shall not exceed 60 square meters or 40% of the floor area of the dwelling unit, including the basement, excluding an attached private garage, whichever is less. And for a detached accessory dwelling, the floor area of the accessory dwelling shall not exceed 105 square meters or 40% of the floor area of the principal dwelling unit, including the basement, whichever is less. The application before us this evening is proposing the following. The interior accessory dwelling unit section 3.2.1 be changed to read as follows. The floor area of the interior accessory dwelling shall not exceed 60 square meters and shall not reduce the size of the dwelling unit below size prescribed in the Ontario Building Code. For a detached accessory dwelling in section 3.2.2, administration would like to see the following changes. That the floor area of the accessory dwelling shall not exceed 105 square meters and shall not exceed the exterior dimensions of the principal dwelling unit. The construction of any new secondary or accessory dwelling requires a building permit and is subject to the Ontario Building Code minimums. This application conforms to the zoning bylaws intent. The Planning Act requires every Planning Act decision be consistent with the provincial policy statement. Per section 1.4 and specifically 1.4.1, municipalities must strive to provide for an appropriate range and mix of housing options and densities required to meet projected requirements of current and future residents. The proposed amendment will provide for an appropriate range and mix of housing options while still keeping our municipality's rural character and therefore complies to the provincial policy statement. No interdepartmental comments or public comments were received on this application. Agency comments were received only from the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority, stating that they have no objections to the approval of this application. They note that any structures within the regulated area will require permits under the authority, as per Ontario Regulation 4124.
Thank you. I would now ask those in the audience that are wishing to make comment on this application, if there are any supporters that would like to make comment on this application. Is there anyone opposed to this application that would like to speak on it? Does council have any questions in regards to this application with the planner? No? Okay. We will now be entertaining this bylaw during our regular meeting. The next item we have is zoning bylaw amendment ZBL A06-2024. This application is again on behalf of the municipality of Oliver Papoonge to rezone a 2-hectare portion of the subject land being Oliver Concession 2 South Part Lot 10, locally known as 144 Berry Drive, from disposal industrial to light industrial to permit the creation of a new light industrial lot for sale. I would like to ask the planning department, please, to do their report on this.
Thank you. Per council's direction, a 2-hectare parcel of land is to be created from our south landfill property containing the south garage. Severing land is not subject to consent procedures when the lands are owned by the municipality. So the first step to sever the land was conducting a survey and registering that survey on title. Because the proposed new lot is attached to the south landfill, the active ECA is active over the entire portion of the lands. To remove the 2-hectare portion from the ECA, it needs to be identified and given its own legal description. This information is then provided to the Ministry of Environment so that the 2-hectare portion can be properly described and removed from the license. Simultaneously, this zoning amendment is required to rezone the 2-hectare parcel from disposal industrial, which requires a minimum of 5 hectares of land, to light industrial to ensure that the parcel is legal. A light industrial use will also fit well with the other uses in the area. The official plan designates this parcel as natural resources. The primary purpose of the official plan is to provide for managing growth that will support and emphasize the municipality's character and have a positive impact on the quality of life for the citizens who live and work in Oliver Papoonge. The natural resource land use designation is intended to protect the lands in the area outside of the rural settlement area that are lands that have agricultural potential, lands that are considered to have high potential for mineral resources, lands that have high potential for mineral aggregate resources, and lands that have potential for forestry resources. It is the intention of the natural resources land use designation to permit a range of uses compatible with the rural area to make use of the natural resources and assets of the rural area to accommodate economic growth in the commercial and industrial sector. This development will promote an additional industrial use as well as economic growth in the municipality and will not change the intent or the area of the official plan. The current zoning of the property is disposal industrial. The disposal industrial zoning has been in place for years as it supports the primary use of the property, which has been a landfill. An application for consent is not required, as previously mentioned, as the lands are owned by the municipality. The Ministry of Environment has indicated that they will allow the 2-hectare lot to be removed from the active ECA. Rezoning from disposal industrial to light industrial is fairly lateral, if not less intensive. The uses in the area are primarily significant in general agriculture, with the disposal industrial lands surrounding the proposed new parcel and a light industrial lot directly to the east. Rezoning from disposal industrial to light industrial complies with the designation of the land and fits with the existing uses in the area. This rezoning is also required as the 2-hectare lot does not comply with the size requirements of a disposal industrial zone. The Planning Act also requires that every Planning Act decision be consistent with the provincial policy statement. Section 1.2.6 speaks to land use compatibility. More specifically, Section 1.2.6.1 states that major facilities and sensitive land uses shall be planned and developed to avoid, or if avoidance is not possible, minimize and mitigate any potential adverse effects from odor, noise, and other contaminants. The proposed amendment is compatible with the character of the area and therefore complies with the provincial policy statement. On this application, no interdepartmental comments or public comments were received, and agency comments were only received from the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority, again stating that they have no objection to the approval of this application.
Thank you. Are there any supporters? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask if we had any other comments other than Lakehead Regional Conservation Authority. That was it? Okay. I do believe that we have a report we received just today from one of the residents. That's, oh, that's the next application. Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking it was this one, the wrong number. Sorry. Is there anybody in the audience that is in support of this application and would like to speak on it?
Just a question before you.
Could you state your name, please?
Don Talbot, I'm the next door neighbor at 126 Berry Drive.
Mhm.
And I was just wondering, is this just for the purpose of sale, or do you have a business that is looking to buy that property?
We're rezoning it because we don't want it to have the use that it has
Right.
now. Yeah.
My only concern is if industrial, that there would be increased traffic in and out of there on a daily basis if there's no specific buyer or anything for it.
I would imagine and I would assume that we are rezoning it so that we can either sell it or lease it out in the future, yes. Otherwise, it would stay the same. Okay. Is there any other person out in the audience that would like to speak to it, that object to the application? As there is none, thank you. Does council have any questions on the application? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just a comment more than anything. I just didn't find that the notice of application that there was any information on the map. A couple of black squares and a blue square and a and a red dotted line. I just felt that we should really comply with our requirements of the applications and make sure that at least there's a road name or a zoning or north or something further. I just found that there wasn't a lot of information.
Okay,
I understand what it's all about, but just the same, we should be compliant with our own rules. Thank you.
thank you. Councillor Viss? Did you have Councillor Viss? Oh, okay, I thought I saw your hand was up. I'm sorry. Is there any other questions for the council of the planner? No, all righty. This application will be reviewed in a regular meeting later in the evening. The next one, we have zoning bylaw amendment ZBLA 07-2024. Here should be. This application is on behalf of James Hockle to remove the site-specific zoning restrictions on the subject land, being part lot 35, concession 1, north of the Cam River, being parts 3 and 4, 0N55R 15160, and part BLK and lot WM54 Papoonj, being part 5 on lot 55R 15160 in the municipality of Oliver Papoonj, known locally as being on Germain Drive from site-specific heavy industrial to heavy industrial, to permit the use of the lot for permitted heavy industrial use. The planning department would like to read their report, please.
Thank you. So as stated by the chair, the purpose of this amendment is to remove the site-specific zoning restrictions on the subject land located along Germain Drive from the site-specific heavy industrial to heavy industrial. In 2021, the owner of the lands applied for a consent to create a new lot with the original intent of it being rezoned to a disposal industrial parcel. The rezoning was later requested to be removed, and the parcel was created as an additional site-specific heavy industrial lot. The potential new owners are now seeking to remove the site-specific component, leaving a full heavy industrial lot to conduct their business on. The official plan designates these lands as natural resources. The natural resources land use designation is intended to protect the lands in the area outside of the rural settlement areas that are lands that have agricultural potential, lands that are considered to have high potential for mineral resources, lands that have high potential for mineral aggregate resources, and lands that have potential for forestry resources. It is the intention of the natural resource land use designation to permit a range of uses compatible with the rural area, to make use of the natural resources and assets of the rural area in order to accommodate economic growth in the commercial and industrial sector. The development will promote additional industrial uses and economic growth in the municipality and will not change the intent of the area or the official plan. Any future activities on site will be required to conform to applicable zoning regulations and site plan control requirements in accordance with the official plan. The current site-specific zoning of the property being heavy industrial -003 was established by bylaw 1091-89 in 1989. The site-specific zoning permits only some of the heavy industrial uses, being a vehicle storage yard, a warehouse, a woodlands garage, a satellite chip station, business office associated with any of the above uses, and building structures and uses accessory to the above uses. Aside from 3 residential lots to the south, the subject lands are surrounded by additional heavy industrial, extractive industrial, and light industrial uses. This area also has provincial highways to the north and east. Removing the site-specific zoning on the property will allow any heavy industrial use as listed below, including an abattoir, accessory retail outlets and offices, an asphalt plant, an automobile service station, biofuel production facility, brickyard, carpentry shop, cement or concrete plant, commercial garage, communication tower, concrete product factory, contractor's yard, forest products, processing plant, gas bar, hydro distribution or generating station, heavy or light industry, a marijuana grow facility, portable asphalt plants, prefabricated shipping containers, recycling sorting facility, recycling processing facility, salvage yard, sawmill and or planing mill, sewage treatment plant, transportation terminal, trucking depot, vehicle repair shop, vehicle storage yard, or wrecking yard. With the other uses in the area and the required 15-meter buffer from any residential area, the addition of further industrial uses in the municipality as well as the vacancy of the current area makes this application compatible with the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw. Again, as previously stated, the Planning Act requires every Planning Act decision be consistent with the provincial policy statement. Section 1.1 speaks to managing and directing land use to achieve efficient and resilient development, and land use patterns and healthy, livable, and safe communities are sustained by promoting efficient development and land use patterns which sustain the financial well-being of the province and municipalities over the long term. Section 1.3 speaks to employment, and that planning authority shall promote economic development and competitiveness by providing opportunities for a diversified economic base, including maintaining a range and choice of suitable sites for employment uses with which support a wide range of economic activities and ancillary uses and take into account the needs of existing and future businesses. This proposed amendment to heavy industrial meets the intent of the area, supports and permits additional industrial growth in the municipality and fits with the character of the area. For those reasons, it is consistent with the provincial policy statement. No interdepartmental comments were received on this application. We did receive agency comments only from Lakehead Region Conservation Authority, stating that they have no objection to the approval of this application. We received public comments from Yiska Westbrook with concerns relating to traffic, the use of the land, proximity to other uses in the area, as well as information provided in the application, all of which has been provided to council this evening. Additionally, comments were received from Rod and Maggie Annis this afternoon with similar concerns related to the industrial uses, traffic, use compatibility, and environmental concerns.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that is in favor of this application and would like to comment further on it?
Yes.
If you could say your name, please, if you'd like to come forward. Yes. And just push the button there and it'll turn green and then it'll light up and then you'll know that we can all hear you.
All right, is this good? Okay, thank you. My name is Dustin Nadine. I'm appearing on behalf of the proposed purchaser of the property, the agent in the application, Clara Industrial Services. Thank you, council, for considering our application this evening. Without kind of getting into too much of the application itself, which I believe was well summarized, I think we're aware of some of the dealings with this property. Most recently, the property itself was, or the consent creating the parcel was registered in about April of this year. Included in that application was an easement with respect to Part 3 on the subject lands. That was an access easement required as part of the conditions to the consent. So that brings us to today. Essentially to create a use for the property that is consistent with not only the proposed purchaser's future use, but I think of more sustainable kind of use case for the surrounding area. You know, that restriction with respect to the chipping station that's existing is I think very restrictive in terms of not allowing for that sustainable development that's the official plan speaks to, and in terms of attracting some economic growth into the municipality. As far as the yeah, I guess as far as that specific zoning and how it's sort of operated in the past, I don't know that that use has ever been used in the area, or specifically this property. I think there's been activity adjacent to and within the lands that are not necessarily compliant. And I think that kind of brings us to, I think, one of the solutions that this application promotes or proposes here to sort of open up that, at least that parcel, and perhaps set a precedent for maybe unlocking the rest of that piece to create a more accurate use that people are interested in using the zone for. As far as the change to heavy industrial, as the planning comments suggested, it's within the use. It's within the land. It's again, it just allows for diversity in the area, and my client wishes to bring to the community, and I think will hopefully you know, generate some good opportunity for the municipality as a whole.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak for the application? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to the application? If you'd like to stand up and move forward here, and we'd just like to have your name, please.
You have that way. Yeah, I'll go first. So my name is Bill McCurdy, spelling capital M, small c, capital K, IRDY. I've lived in Oliver Papoonge for over 12 years now. I live in the property directly across Highway 588 from the greater Hawkbull block, if you will. And I have read Jessica Westbrook's letter. I have not read the other one. Of course, you just got that today. But from my point of view, she said it quite clearly, and I would urge you, if you have read it, please read it again, because she makes all the points. I'm not going to do that again, but I totally agree with what she says. The one thing that I want to address tonight is the intersection of Germain Drive and Highway 588. I've been there. I used to actually walk my so-called daily walk along Germain Drive. And I noticed that as I was coming out. I stopped actually because of the traffic on 588 and the rather narrow shoulders. But I noticed that coming out, like, it's a totally blind intersection. I think I would say in all directions. And without going into a lot of detail, I know there was a report from TBT Engineering that they did a survey one day, December 21st, 2021. It was a Tuesday in December. And they were basing their recommendation on that one-day survey and some projection as to the potential additional use of the intersection. But from my point of view, and my recommendation to councillors is to go down to Germain Drive. You can drive up it short, it's one block, turn around to the gravel pit, and then come back and just stop at the stop sign going on to 588. And imagine that you are turning on there with an industrial vehicle, a larger vehicle, worst case scenario, a gravel truck, but even a larger vehicle, perhaps towing a trailer with equipment on it. And imagine when you would pull out in either direction, going to the left, going up towards Highway 1117. It's a very steep hill. I'm sure you've all driven it. And so the acceleration rate would be so slow that the traffic's going to pass. And people come around that corner at 80K because that's the speed limit. Coming out of my driveway on the other side, which is a little further up, I have the same feeling. I stop, I look at the corner, nobody there, but by the time I've pulled out, somebody is right on my tail and kind of waving their arms at me like, why are you holding me up? But anyway, I think really it's dangerous. And it should be looked at. And I know TBT Engineering quoted specs from MTO, I guess, about the allowable site distances and that kind of thing. I would suggest that those specs were designed by, as so often happens in Northwestern Ontario, somebody in Southern Ontario whose main driving is on the Highway 400 series. And so maybe it might be true. I really think that it's a dangerous intersection. To put more traffic on it is not right. So then, just to summarize, when I moved here over 12 years ago, I knew about the gravel business because it's been there forever. And so I'm used to waking up in the morning and hearing the crushing plant, to hearing the backup beeps on the trucks, to hearing the tailgates slam as they empty them. And unfortunately used to the loaded gravel trucks pulling onto 588 without stopping. And it scares me to think that that would happen off Germain Drive. So that existing industry is there, and obviously, you know, I wish it weren't, but we, you know, can't do anything about that. I really don't think that we should add more industry in that area. As far as I know, it was never considered to be an industrial park where you were attracting other industries in there to make it a, you know, attractive for the municipality and to attract new business and that kind of thing. And we're talking about, like, already there's what, 3 businesses in there. There's the gravel company, the cement plant, Ritchie Brothers Auction. Just to add more, we're just piling more things in there. So I would hope that when you consider this, you will decide that it's not appropriate to change the zoning. Thank you,
Thank you.
Margaret.
Okay. Is this on? Push?
Yep.
Okay,
And your name?
Margaret Eager.
Okay.
We live at the campground across from Hot Wolves. And I just have a couple of points. One of the things I'd like to know is exactly why Clara Industrial, what their plan is for the lots that they have to have it taken off of the HI-003 site specific to HI with no conditions. So that's something I would like to know why. And if it got to be, if you guys passed it, the rezoning with no conditions on this, what if down the road they decide to sell? Then us residents around this area, we have no say because now it's heavy industrial and anything can go in there. Okay, and one of the things I read, it stated that the reason for this request is to accommodate the applicant and trustees' industrial development for commercial, well, actually, I guess they said that, to provide land for industrial growth to minimize. It's 2 lots. How much more growth is that? That's it, is those 2 lots. So that's not a real big growth issue to me. Anyways, that's to me. And also it stated that the prospective owner will ensure that its future activities and the development of the subject land conform to the zoning regulations. That's them, but what about future owners? So that's my sort of more concerns.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Again. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition? Rob? Just come forward and. I know it's Rod.
Yes, how's it going? Last name's Annes, Anness. My biggest concern is who owns the property now? Does Clara own the property?
I have no idea.
The property is owned by the applicant, James Hockwell.
See, that's the only issue I have is if the deal, another deal falls through, then, I like to, when I go back through Merlot, I see Rubin Park. When I go up, Twin City Crossings, I see all the nice organized development there, you know, that's not bad, eh? But, say the deal falls through and James then it changes for James, it's gonna be a big willy-nilly helter-skelter disaster as it is now. His main approach is too close to the highway, he won't move it. You could move that in 8 hours with a rubber tired backhoe, but he won't do it. There's all these little, everything keeps adding up to just basically ignorance and neglect. So that's what our concern. The deal doesn't go through, then we got deal with the same thing. That's been passed on to us for years. That's as big as my concern. And as far as can't help the way people drive, you know, but when there was a time we had to take our kids to the Stanley Hotel to catch a bus. Up front, that corner. They have better brakes nowadays. Yeah, so that's my concern. I know Clara personally, and I know they're organized, I know they do a good job. And I would have no problem with them, because I know they wouldn't be, but future development or previous is what I'm more concerned. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Does council have any questions of the planner in regards to this application? Councillor Viss?
I guess I do. We zoned that heavy industrial with site specific for a reason. There was the number of studies indicated to give us some idea of what's happening there, and it's been said here earlier already, the traffic was a major concern, buses go up and down and all that, so we won't go in detail with that. And there was a number of them. And when you looked at it, or if you go directly, take site specific out of that, then that opens that whole category up. You can go into in page 53, it says waste disposal. We got to go in there. And if you go further down further, it allows everything that's possible in heavy industrial in there. The intent of this council a few years ago was that we would put site specific on it, so at least they can come to us and say, this is what we're going to do, and this is what it entails. And I like to see that stay because of the reasons that 2 years ago we made that decision, and I don't want to wait from that decision.
No, at this moment, though, we're just asking planning questions because we'll discuss this application in our regular meeting. So was there any questions of the planner in regards to this application? Councillor Campbell?
Just to clarify, so 2 years ago, we didn't change the zoning though, did we? Because this has been in place since 1989.
That's correct.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, what did we do 2 years ago? We turned down
2 years ago,
The
the consent
consent.
passed.
Okay, Councillor Peacock, any questions?
Yes, thank you. With regard to the survey that was provided on page 56 of our agenda, it doesn't appear that there is a deeded road allowance to parts 5, 4, or 3. I don't believe there's frontage on part 3. Or like, where does the road end there?
Part 3 and part 5 make up a single lot. The
Okay.
frontage is along Germain up to where you see part 4, where the easement is,
Mhm.
the access easement.
So do they have deeded frontage on Germain Drive?
Yes,
But it's not laid out on this plan as a separate parcel?
the road would not be laid out as a parcel. You can see the road to the south of the parcel. You're too far. That's residence.
These are the residents,
All
And
of that
there's-
is the road.
yes. But I thought there would have to be road allowance, a road allowance on part 5, would there not be, to be deeded to the municipality?
I'm not sure I understand. It's fronting on a maintained road.
Yes. The road is there.
Okay. Now, further to that, On page 75, it shows that solid waste disposal site is a permitted use in the natural resources area. And yet further to that, it says development will not have a significant impact on the larger surrounding ecosystem, such as reduction in water quality and quantity, and interfere with natural farm drainage. Well, would a solid waste disposal site not have potential to impact the water quality and quantity in the area?
Sorry, yeah.
This
you
is
said-
on
you
page
said
75 of our agenda.
Oh,
It only goes to page 67.
I'm sorry, but the further report
yes, that will be discussed in our regular
later?
meeting.
Okay.
This is just for the application itself, if you have any questions. Councilor Calvert?
Heavy industrial, when it was site specific, I noticed all these ones that were listed. Can there be additional ones added to this list, or are these just specified ones that are for?
The large list or the short
Oh, the
list?
short list, the ones that were
It-
on there right now.
Yeah,
Can there be?
it's up to council how they wish to
Yes,
do
so-
the amendment. We could add uses
Okay.
rather than all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions of the planner in regards to the application? As there is none, we will be reviewing this application in our regular meeting, which will be coming this evening, and a bylaw will be considered at that time as well. I have a resolution to adjourn the meeting. It's been moved and seconded, the time being 5:37 PM. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. We will now commence with our regular meeting, regular council meeting. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask if there's a disclosure of interest. Oh, we have to find our way to the door. Okay, worked it. Okay, is there a disclosure of interest in our meeting, any of our items? Yes, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I would like to note that 6B, with regard to the feasibility study, I'd like to declare a conflict in that regard.
And is there a reason required?
Yeah.
What is the reason?
Due to the fact that my husband is a captain of one of the stations that is proposed for further study.
Okay,
Thank you.
all righty. Any further disclosure of interest? As there is none, I have a resolution adopting the agenda with the following addition. A letter from Tammy Cook, the CAO at the Lakeland Regional Conservation Authority in regards to their 70th anniversary celebration event on July 18, 24. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have a deputation this evening from Junkaway Inc. And Dan is here. If you'd like to come forward, please. Just make sure that whichever speaker you're speaking into has lit up. It is? Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, perfect.
My name's Dan Cheal, Cheal. Thanks for having me here tonight. My company is Junkaway. I've been the #1 junk removal company in Thunder Bay for the last 7 years, voted by people from Thunder Bay and surrounding areas, meaning Oliver, Papoonge, Shunya. And I proposed this once before. I would like to readdress weekly garbage collection for the residents of Oliver, Papoonge. I saw the story in Thunder Bay Television News or the TBT News Watch, and they mentioned something about that you guys don't have the means to cover such a wide area. I'm here to tell you, I have the means and ability to do it. I can do it. And I have done it before. A couple of years ago, I had probably 50 to 70 contracts out here. And I left on my own will because it got to the point where coming out here every Wednesday for the 50 contracts or the 70 contracts simply wasn't worth it because we got so busy in town. So I'd like to propose doing every business, every household, and we would do a really good job. And I would make it very, very feasible. And the thing that was so important to the people that I worked with out here and did the garbage collection for, it wasn't only we were doing garbage collection, but we would also offer to them, and it's an aging population, just like in Thunder Bay or Shunya. If someone has an old couch or an old TV or a mattress to get rid of, for an additional reasonable charge, we're there anyways, we can do it. We developed some really good relationships when we did it. And when I stopped doing it, it created a lot of sad people. There was widows out here who really got to know us and trust us, and they had no other way to get their stuff to the dump. Now, sometimes lots of people had said, well, my neighbor takes our garbage to the dump, and I get that. But sometimes things change. Sometimes neighbors move, they pass on, their truck breaks. We want to develop a relationship out here that's going to improve the quality of life. This is the 2024 weekly garbage collection should be a priority. I mean, I deal with it in Thunder Bay all the time. Every part of Thunder Bay has rats, lots of them, garbage everywhere. And we solve a lot of problems. I do all the clean outs for social housing. I work with the regional hospital, and we've won many awards for the service we provide. I would have a designated truck for out here. I would take the map of Oliver Papoonge and I would cut it into sections. And we would service each section, one section a day. And it would probably come to the point where I would be looking for a piece of property out here to keep some of my bins or my trucks. And most likely it would lead to job creation out here eventually.
Is there any questions of anyone in regards to this? And now, it sounds really interesting, but have you come up with any kind of, what is it going to cost us to do this type of thing?
Well, my initial plan was I wanted to see if there was any interest this time, because last time there didn't really seem to be a lot of interest, but now a couple of years later, it's being reported on the news, and I get calls from people all the time from this area saying, are you back doing it? And at this point, we're not. Like my business in Thunder Bay right now, and we do a lot of camps and everything. I could be going 7 days a week, 24 hours a day right now. So this would be an additional service, and I'm trying to help you out. I'm not trying to get to get rich off of the people out here. And somebody accused me of that last time when I pitched this. This is a service that's going to help people, not hurt them. So.
But it's kind of difficult for us to agree to say this. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, and I don't have to go to the landfill site
Right.
either. But we have to know what we're looking at for a cost before we can.
So I would like to, instead of chasing individuals for money and it would have to be all or nothing out here.
Yes.
So I would just bill the municipality, and you're looking approximately $35 a month. And a portion of that would go, for example, 25 would go to me, and 5 would go to the landfill site for the maintenance and everything like that. And if you break it down, 30 or $35 is less than a cup of coffee a day per month.
You're right there. Bernie, Council Campoff?
Hi, Dan.
How you doing?
Dan and I went to high school together, so. So, yeah, a couple questions. So you're not interested in doing just partial or just built up areas or something like that? Like you're only interested if it's all
all or nothing because,
nothing.
well, Bernie, to come out here for 5 or 10, and it's so spread out.
Yeah.
I would have to carefully do routes and do it that way. It has to be beneficial for everybody.
And just one more. So obviously it would be using our landfill sites.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Councillor
Okay.
Peacock?
Thank you. At the present time, our landfill sites are open 2 days a week, the north site being Tuesdays and Saturdays and the south site being Wednesdays and Saturdays. Would you anticipate, because you said that at this time you could just about run 24/7, would you anticipate requiring special access to our municipality's landfill site?
I probably would if, to eliminate the possibility of any delays. Now, there's places I go to that they provide us a key. Whether you guys would be open to that or not, I don't know at this point, but yeah, because I wouldn't want to get to the landfill site for it to be closed and push everybody back a day because we're full. So.
And what about recycling? Do you encourage that? And do you have the ability to have people separate their things to pick up?
For sure. I was thinking 4 bags, whether it's 4 bags of garbage, 2 bags of garbage, 2 of recycling. So
And that's $30 for the entire municipality?
that's $30 per person, per household, or per business per month.
This business kind of has a different type of, it's not usually residential type garbage from a business, so it could accumulate quickly with the collection.
For sure, it could, yeah. And that's why if it accumulates, then we're getting it gone. It would be worse if it accumulates and nobody's taking it.
True. Are you a resident out here?
I live in Thunder Bay on the north side, yep. But I do lots of work out here.
Mhm. And I didn't know if this was something that, would there be more than one company that would be interested in it? And is it something that council would look to put out for proposal for,
We could discuss that
Yeah,
after,
okay.
not during the deputation.
All right,
This is just
thank you.
questions.
Just a question in your statement, you said you have a number of inquiries. Have you got any idea how many people have inquired about the service and wanting to use you in our municipality? Are you getting 100 calls, 5 calls, 200?
No, it wouldn't be 500. It would be, probably about 10 to 12 a month, which is consistent because we used to do it and we did a good job too. If I came here from Southern Ontario and wanted to buy or build a house by the golf course, and I found out there was no garbage collection, I would have an issue with that in today's world. So, and the people miss the service we provided. The single, or the widows, I still get calls from one of them actually asking if I'm considering coming back and doing it. I consider it all the time. It's not up to me. I'm here for you.
Want to go a little further
Sure.
than that, but you're saying $35 a month
Mhm.
per. What do you do with all these empty lots that they do have garbage at times? How do we collect that as a municipality? Where do we go through that? I could see if I have no problem with coming in, but if I wanted to service, I should pay you direct. I don't know, in my opinion, I'm not clear enough yet. I'm not saying totally no,
Yep.
whether that's a good thing, whether we should be direct. I could see what's easier for you, direct bill municipality. Of course,
Right.
one bill and you're all done. I got 500 people, you bill 500 times 30, right? But I just can't get my head around that yet, okay? So.
No problem.
Okay.
If you have any further questions, you can text me, call me on my personal line.
And the reason I'm saying that, I collect the garbage for 5 families.
Right.
All our family. The one includes a farm.
Mhm.
You're gonna charge the farm $35 a month.
Well, I would have a limit, 4-bag limit.
Okay, so then that defeats the purpose because a farm has more than 4 bags.
Okay.
You see, so we come into that type of a situation and commercial establishment will have more than 5. So you're gonna have to have some kind of a rate for whatever.
So there would be a a number of different rates then.
Yeah.
Residential, business, farms. That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay.
Well received. Yeah.
Those things all have to be worked out, so I think it takes a bit of time to think this out. And like I say, I not say no, I just gotta get my head around some of how this will all work in a room.
Good question.
That has so many different.
Right. And I just one thought too. You do the garbage collection for the 5 families.
Oh, yeah, just my grandchildren and the farm, which my son is on my own, and I take the half ton and one truck and I'm all there. I'm gone for the week.
So if you go to Florida for the winter,
Yeah, but I don't.
but if you did,
Use my truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to beat those young people. They gotta figure out every which way. You're gonna find a way for the weekend. I said, where are the keys?
for sure. Yeah.
You know, and I'm just, that's just on the side note, but yeah,
Yeah.
it works really well for our situation.
Right.
Why should 5 people run down there when I could just throw it all? We have those tune bags and then I just dump them all out and it doesn't fly all over the road and it just works really well
Yep.
for us. And I'm sure
There's
other
lots of- yeah,
families that
exactly.
would do
Yep.
that, to pick it up from the brothers and sisters.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, so that's why I just leave it.
Of course. Yeah.
I was
Councillor
wondering,
Calvert?
have you looked at how many like days you think you need out here? Have you actually broken down the whole municipality and?
Well, I got a number of 2,500 residences. Is that
That's the
accurate?
ballpark, yeah.
So I would need time. I would need a map of the outlining areas and I would probably quarter it or, do it in sections, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
A lot of area to cover, eh?
for sure.
Yeah.
But I do have the staff, I have the equipment and we're growing at a very good pace. So this would be something that would tie in nicely to what we're doing. And it's important to say, my company has WSIB, we're fully insured. We've got the Special Ministry of the Environment number. And, we've got a very good reputation. Number 1 for the last 7 years. We deal with the regional hospital, City of Thunder Bay, district housing, most of the realtors in town. So we're good at what we do. We also do small demolitions. I bought a brand new John Deere tractor a year and a half ago. So we're doing lots of sheds, barns, stuff like that. That would be, of course, an additional charge to the people, but it's an option for them,
Other questions? Does your, has Junkaway approached other municipalities in the area or are we there first?
I have approached Shunya, and right now they were not ready the first time. I haven't approached them for a while. But there is one of the beaches in Shunya. They've got a campers association and we're negotiating, we're very close to doing a deal. And they love the idea of us coming out there, recognizable company, fully branded. So you know who's coming into your yard or into your driveway. And they appreciate how simple we can make it. It's a trailer park at one of these places on one of the beaches. So I'm confident we'll get that. And that will be my in for more of Shunya. Most people are interested, but there's a couple of key people. It's very difficult to,
I just one further comment that I make, there's a local company now that goes around and puts these bins at different businesses and farms. They're a local company. We need all in or all out. What happens to somebody like that? That does that now.
Are they a registered business or, okay. Yeah.
And they provide that service to whomever wants to, and then they come, I don't know how, we don't have, like I said, I don't know how to do. But they come once a week or whatever, they take the bin and dump it and away they go.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean. Yeah, those,
So we have a local business in our municipality that provides that service now. So, when you said all in, then my question, what happens to him? Is he out?
No,
Or
he,
is he share?
I don't believe you have the bins that you drop off and pick up. You
I do have the larger bins. I don't have the ones, I know who you're talking about. Those orange bins have sat there for the last 2 months in the front of his, haven't moved. Yeah. So you go in like this and dump them.
Yeah.
So if I was, I may go make an offer on those bins. If they're not gonna move, why have them? So then that would take care of that problem immediately.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted you, I figured you'd be
Yeah.
aware of that because.
For sure.
All that type of business, right?
Yeah, yep.
We know.
Yep.
Okay, that's,
Okay.
as long as you're aware of that.
Perfect. Yes, Councillor Campoff?
So I just noticed the city's moving to their residential bins for recycling now, and I guess they're moving towards that for garbage. Is that something you'd be looking at or doing it the traditional way of bags at this side of the street kind of thing?
For now, the traditional way. Let's take one step at a time because those trucks that, lift the one bin, those are expensive trucks, very expensive, lots of moving parts. That's not to say I would never get that or get into that because, well, Bernie, you probably see me on Facebook or we're growing at a phenomenal pace and I never rule anything out. So eventually I will get there. Yeah.
Okay, good. Any further questions? Well, thank you very much. I'm sure we're going to be discussing this. We'll get some reports from administration and we'll get back to
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to call me on my personal line or email me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, we now have council meeting minutes of the council meeting held on June 26th for approval. The resolution has been moved and seconded. Any discussion or errors or omissions on those minutes? All in favor of the resolution? Opposed? Carried. Was there any items on those minutes that would like for discussion? Page 14 to 29. No, all righty. We now have a report from our bylaw enforcement officer on page 30. Larry is here, so is there any questions you have in regards to his report? Or Larry, is there anything you want specifically to report to us?
The derelict vehicles on Oliver Road, I sent them a notice of violation. The cleanup has started, although the compliance date for to be finished was yesterday. I'll be typing up a property standards order to send to the property owner with another compliance date feature. The chickens on Martin Drive, it was resolved, the chickens were moved. People, a lot of people are phoning and asking about chickens and I tell them where they can have them and where they can't. The dog at large on Berry Drive, this is ongoing. I've been working with the deputy clerk in regard to the court papers for a dog owner liability act hearing. It's not to put the dog down, it's just to have it more controlled environment with the authority coming from a justice rather than me. So when you go against the justice, they don't like that. Building permit on Point de Miron. There was a hole in the ground next to the house. The people had put a little bit of a retaining wall at the back of their big garage because the water drained down towards their house. The hole in the ground was for an addition. I did speak to the property owner. The lady said that her husband is a contractor and there won't be any construction until the permit is, they know that they had a backhoe or they had an excavator there doing their septic field. So they figured while it was there and they're renting it, they'll dig the hole. Then once the permits are come into place, then the construction will go ahead. The demolition permit on Berry Drive that was resolved. I contacted the property owner and he came in and saw the planner and he paid the money for the permit and area was cleaned up.
Okay. Is there any questions of council of our bylaw enforcement officer in regards to this report or in regards to anything other than this? No, nothing further to us? Okay. Thank you very much. You too. The next item we have is a fire station feasibility study. We do have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to do the feasibility study. Oh,
Pardon me, I'll just.
well, that's right.
Getting out of here.
There's been a corner there.
Yeah, we're good. Oops, but I don't want that chair to be. up underneath.
Oh, that chair is not very solid. It moves.
Oh, we're good. Step out.
Okay, so we have a recommendation to have this feasibility study done. The fire chief is here and our CAO, so any questions? Councillor Viss.
Sure, I'll start it off. It says in here, to get a company to do it, or the alternative would be to study on our own. Definitely no. I don't think we should be doing it ourselves. Be conflict of interest. There'll be a whole lot of different things come in that we need somebody on the outside to come into that has understanding, which just the company does have. And then they'll come back to us and not favoritism here or there, so on. So it's probably, I don't know the total cost of this will be, but we've put that study in a number of years ago, a couple of years ago. If we're going to do that, well, let's continue on. And let's see where this all comes out. It'll be 3, will it be 4? Let's see what they come up with.
Right.
And so I'm in favor of hiring a company to do that and not ourselves.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Oh,
Councillor
definitely,
Calhoun?
I concur the conflict of this on this 100%.
Councillor Campoff?
I agree that it should be an outside consultant to do work like this, in this case. Question I have, we've been talking, at least preliminarily, starting to discuss with some of our neighbors, maybe coordinating services and looking at making some improvements for all of us in the area on this side of the city. How does this, like, would we consider that in this type of a study? Is it preliminary to be considering that kind of stuff, or how do we work that in?
It's a really good question. I think it would be preliminary. I think if we put off with the shared services to get that up and running and then have it get to the level of dealing with stations, there's going to be some time involved there. So I don't see this kind of a study with our station locations having a big impact on the shared services with respect to station locations.
Okay, Councillor Viss?
Yeah, I really like to follow up with that because it's so true, because I think there's an awful advantage to it if we start working together, because, not everybody has capabilities that one or the other have. And I think we need to learn how to share that kind of stuff, Sean. And so I think Bernie, an excellent point he brought up. We've got to continue working alongside as well as doing this study. Don't stop that one.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I'm going to give a quick update at the new business about
Okay,
that shared
thank you.
services, but it's certainly part of the bigger picture. It's just the timelines, holding one back for the other it's going to take some time to do both of them.
Okay.
Okay, so this resolution has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that this has not got a price on it or anything. We'll be getting a quotation from the company. That's the plan.
That's right. So, but it is.
For the final approval, right? When we see the numbers.
Yes, yes. So this is just the first step towards moving forward. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, and we will just wait for one moment for Councillor Peacock to come back. Yeah, the chair doesn't have brakes, though. It rolls, so that's It's kind of dangerous.
So each year old, thank you.
Okay, the next item we have is an agreement with the Ontario Fire College in regards to Regional Training Center. You have report number 2024-140, and we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded to enter into an agreement with the government to operate the Regional Training Center. Any questions of the fire chief or administration in regards to this? Any, do you want Councillor Campos?
Just to clarify, so this doesn't, I mean, we've been doing this for a couple of years or a number of years already, and this doesn't materially change anything. We're just doing another renewal.
It's a renewal. There was a 3-year on the previous agreement and there's really no changes in the agreement. It's basically the same thing.
Do you anticipate it growing, or is it we like using up the like, are we because we're supplying a service to the Northwest, are we supplying it adequately to use up the demand?
There is a growing demand. I was concerned last year with respect to enrollment, but there has been a bit of a tipping point and there's a growing demand for the courses that we're putting on and getting a lot of positive feedback on it. So it is growing and it's going to continue to grow here in the foreseeable future.
Is the term also 3 years for this
It
agreement?
is a 3-year, yeah. And I just want to add, we just did a auto extrication certification course to the technical level for passenger vehicle extrication. And I had 5-6 departments step up and bring equipment in to help us put that course on. So we're starting to get a lot of buy-in from the surrounding municipalities to support what we're doing there, which is really encouraging.
Any further questions, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just wondering, I understand that there's meals and refreshments provided to the people who are taking the courses. Are those costs recovered through the registration, or does everyone get a separate bill, or only if you have lunch do you get a bill, or how does that work?
So every student that attends, including all of our Papoon students, pays a flat rate. Right now, we're at $45 per student per day, with the exception of the pumper ops course and the auto extrication, which are $100 a day per student. Out of that, my budget is $25 per day per student for the meals and the refreshments. So it is all cost recovered.
And one other question, with regard to the agreement, is the agreement between the municipality and the RTC or the government agency? Sorry, the OFC? Or is it with Sean? Because it indicates that on page 50 that it's signature of Sean, but I wondered if it should be the signature of the municipality. Should it be Wayne or the mayor that signs this agreement?
So I can answer that. So the agreement is with the municipality. It's a corporation. And part of the bylaw is authorizing me to sign, giving me the authority to bind the corporation. So I signed it last time on this. Sometimes it's Wayne or somebody else that signs them. It really doesn't matter who's signing them. I just copied basically what was in on the first agreement, and I had the authority through a bylaw to enter into the agreement.
And the resolution does state it's an agreement between the municipality and the province.
And then with the contact, should it be your cell phone number and not the municipal phone number? That is a contact telephone number there?
So I think my municipal phone number is listed in the bigger picture on things, but that's the cell phone will get me. Whereas the municipal line may be a delay in getting back to somebody. That's why I put the cell number. Oh, is it?
Yes.
Then maybe it's the other way around then.
Okay. Any more questions? So I have the resolution that's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item we have is the building department report, page 51 to 58. It's got all the permits that have been issued to date. Councillor Viss.
Yes, I have one question on 11/11/24 North Star Holding, 64 Cooper Road. I assume that's that extension, that warehouse. We haven't passed a acceptance of the road yet, so he has no access. So we got the cart before the horse here. Like you see, if something goes wrong and they have an argument with our director of operation, well, he's got the building. So should we not make sure that we've accepted 150 meters or whatever we said we were going to accept? The discussion been there. It just need to do it formally to make sure it's done right. That's all my point.
There's been discussion in the office between the chief building official, the director of operations, planning. They do not get occupancy until the road has been signed off.
But they can build the building.
Right.
Do you think that's a good thing to do? Shouldn't we have accepted the road? I think just for safety's sake, sometime, one of these times you're going to get caught. I think something's going to come out that nobody can think of. And all of a sudden here we are in the pickle. Just something to think about. Okay. It's not major, but because I think this is going to go, but it could end up somewhere if we allowed this to happen. And all of a sudden it backfired somewhere. Whoa, now where are we at? Whatever it is.
Councillor
I'm just
Campbell?
saying, we should maybe be a little more careful.
Wouldn't it put them in a lot bigger pickle than it puts us?
Well, it could be.
We'll have a building on.
But he'll
on a
sue us
road.
because we gave him a building permit.
We haven't given him occupancy. I don't
No,
know.
but he's got the building permit.
Yeah.
Then the court of law would put us in
But
a
if-
tough position. Anyway, don't make a big thing out of it. I
But
just
if they
picked up on
know,
it.
if they know that they can't get occupancy until the road is accepted and transferred over, I think I would assume we're covered.
But it does.
Then-
Yeah. Well, I know, I know,
And
I
see,
know what
that's
you're
why
saying.
I'm so afraid that sometimes we don't get caught up here somewhere. I would just be hateful.
Councillor.
Just want to comment with subdivision agreements. What happens is they will actually have people living in the subdivisions until, and then the road doesn't need to be completed until they're all built. So it does occur. I don't see it being an issue for us.
Councillor Peacock?
With regard to that same question, how did the building permit get issued for the building across the road? Did we accept that Spruce Lane or whatever? I don't know. And yet there's a building on that property, so similar situation, just not sure.
No, we accepted that road. We accepted that road. That's a municipally maintained road now. Spruce Lane. Yeah, but what there's an easement behind those properties and those belong to the property owners there. And the easements are in favor of the property beside you so that they can all get out the back. But the road that's the north south, that is owned by us now. We maintain it.
And I just do have a couple of questions with regard to building permit. It was my understanding, last time we spoke with regard to the listing, that number 3, on page 53 had been canceled. And it does indicate it's canceled on the tracking list on page 57. And it was then, from what I understood from the conversation, reissued as permit number 21. Am I correct with that?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So, presume that will be looked after next time around then. And do we have any idea as to how many outstanding occupancy permits we have? And are people contacted to advise them that they do need an occupancy permit to allow them to get the refund? And is there a time limit as to when the refundable fees are no longer accessible to the applicants?
On all documents for building permits, it's noted that they have 3 years to collect the deposit as long as they're completed. Every couple of years, we do a mass mail out for anybody who has an outstanding permit that hasn't been closed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, one question, Carrie, I think it's called the Hoop Drive. It's a great big warehouse going up. Did that permit come in last year?
No, it's recent.
Oh, because it's not in here yet.
It's not listed on here, no.
No, okay. That's
It was
what-
the beginning of this month.
Okay, all right, because I just see him going up and I thought, and then I looked through here.
No,
and I saw
yeah,
the mustache.
you'll see that next month.
Okay.
Counselor Peacock?
Thank you. One other question with regard to this, we've had a couple of unfortunate incidents where residents have burnt down this year. And I don't see the demolition permits for the property on Oliver Road as well as John Street Road. Although that house is still standing, but barely. I don't see the demolition permits on this listing. So who follows that up?
We don't contact owners to make them get demo permits without complaints. We don't know about them.
Right. Yep, so,
If an owner came to apply for a dwelling on a property that we understand still has a dwelling on it, then they would be required to take out a demo permit prior to getting a building permit.
okay, Counselor Riss?
Well, it's an advantage to the person to demolish a building, otherwise we're gonna
They're getting
continue
taxes.
paying taxes because the church took down the parson. I said, we get a demolition permit, guys, because if you don't, now I don't think they pay tax, I know on the house or not, but I said, get a demolition permit, then it's off the record, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why, I mean, if they would not get a demolition permit, that's silly for those people not to do that.
Right, but it is their prerogative.
Yeah, exactly.
We have no way of.
Yeah,
preventing it.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Any further questions in the building department? Okay, the next one is a statutory public meeting report, the secondary dwelling minimum square footage. We have a resolution that's been moved and seconded. This was the first one we discussed at our public meeting. So it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this resolution? Councillor Kemphoff.
I know it was mentioned at a previous meeting, we were discussing this stuff, but is there a way to add the imperial measurements to this?
there a what?
Mentioned it. Well, what is 60 square meters? I don't know what that means.
Apply everything by 10.
Oh, okay.
That's all I do.
That works. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you brought it up last.
I had and I sent a thing, I never had a response, but so now I just multiply everything by 10, just
Okay.
to save my.
So it's 60, it's 600.
In the zoning bylaw also, we list both.
Oh, yes.
Oh, in the zoning bylaw itself.
Yes, you do. I read, I checked out.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just a quick note with regard to on the agenda, on page 3, it states page 59 to 63 is with regard to a secondary dwelling minimum square footage, and yet when we go to pass the bylaw on page 7 of our agenda, it says accessory building. I'm thinking that perhaps the wording should be changed on the agenda to say dwelling. Item 9C on page 7 of our agenda. It, like I say, it says accessory building, but I think we mean dwelling. Just a minor hiccup. And in the same regard, thank you for clarifying this information, because I wasn't able to figure the 40% out as to basements or not basements, or what's fixed or finished or not. So I appreciate the efforts put into clarify this. Thank you.
So we have a resolution that's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is the statutory public meeting report of Berry Drive. We have a resolution in regards to that. That was the second meeting we had. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say something. I just looked up and saw you and I thought, oh, you're going to say something. So we have a resolution here that's been moved and seconded in regards to 144 Berry Drive. Is there any questions of the planner in regards to this resolution and this application? No. Okay, so the resolution again has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is the one on the Hawkville property. That's changing the zoning from site-specific heavy industrial to heavy industrial. The resolution has been moved and it has been seconded. So it is now open for discussion. Councillor Diss.
Sure, I'll start again. I guess I spoke out of turn there, but yeah, I still like to see that site specific left on there. There was a reason why we did that 2 years ago. We're not saying no to anybody. All they have to do is come here to us, and this is the plan we're going to put on. This is what it's going to do. This is a number of things that that could do with it. So I think I'd like to see the information to this council, what goes on there, because we do have the safety of school buses, I said earlier. We also have residents there. Also, when they talked about the sewage disposal, they flows all the way down to the river, and there's a whole number of concerns. So there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, for a company to come here and say, this is what we'd like to do. It's already having the industrial, and then we're all comfortable where we're at, because we do have to answer back to all our residents, so.
Okay, so what uses would you add to this if they have to be added?
Well, I don't know if.
The zoning said that.
I would prefer that we just leave site specific on that. It's already heavy industrial, so we don't need to change
But
that.
if it's site specific, we have to have whatever uses you're gonna allow on that piece of property. The top paragraph on page 76
Okay,
has if I'm not wrong,
Well,
that's the
that's-
uses that are presently on the site specific.
all right, if
Yeah,
that's
that's correct.
certainly, I can take some of them out of there. The abattoir should definitely not be there. And I don't know about marijuana grow facilities, what that could cause. Recycling, both of those shouldn't be. Savage yard, sewage treatment plant, a wrecking yard. We don't want a junkyard there, but there's all those resident stuff. So those are numbers that I just quickly, now that you asked me to do that I would like to be
Removed.
removed,
list.
left in there so that they can't have that.
No, yeah, well, a site specific tells you what you can have,
Okay.
not what you can't have. Counselor Campo?
So I understand why the property owner would want to take all the restrictions off, and
That's right.
because that's obviously more preferable to the property owner. Would it be reasonable for us to go back to the property owner and ask them what they would like to have added to the site specific list?
Come back
Yeah, we could do that.
and come back to us.
Yeah, we
Yes.
could do that.
That's.
Sure, I'm
Mhm.
for that.
Yes.
So if it assists, I'm Lori Cruz and I'm here on behalf of Hackwell Construction. So both Dustin and I are here to be able to answer any questions that you have for both Hackwell and Clara. And if there's a discussion in terms
You
of.
should
a
come
site-
to the frontier because anyone that's watching this show or the show, watching this meeting.
Exactly. So
Can't
Lori
hear you.
Cruz, I represent Hackwell Construction. And so we've stayed, both Dustin and Dean on behalf of Clara and myself on behalf of Hackwell, because we're happy to answer any questions. We appreciate that, when there's an application that says we would like to have it zoned heavy industrial, that there's going to be specific concerns. And we appreciate, the concerns that the neighbors have raised. And I think that with some discussion, we may be able to answer some of the questions that you have as far as some of the uses that I think everyone can agree that they're comfortable with. No one wants an abattoir there, and I don't think that either Hackwell or Clara have that in their viewpoint. So if you want to sort of drill down on that list, I think we're able to do that this evening for you folks. I'm not leaving, I'm just getting my stuff.
That's okay. We're not going to chase you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the planner, what would be best if we just defer this till the next meeting and then you have the list condensed to what is acceptable to the property present and future property owner?
Certainly, if we're going to change anything on the application, we do have to re-notify. So we would defer, get the new information,
Put all
and
the,
then provide a new notice out. And essentially do this again.
Yeah.
In August.
which
or-
is, I mean, it wouldn't be, I think it would be fair and open to the people that live there, but I wouldn't want to do this now at the meeting,
No,
because we're
no.
going to be going back and forth. Is just work with the present and future owner as to what they want to have in that and leave it at site specific with whichever uses they want
Mhm.
and come back to us in our next meeting.
Yes.
Be no problem.
That would entail,
Timing.
timing obviously in another public notice procedure.
Yeah, the notice would go back out again, but when our next meeting is in August, whatever, 6th, then it can be. That's right.
Right,
I-
but what I understood, if this council has the jurisdiction to either approve the application the way it is, or go ahead and say, no, we're not going to change, we're not going to remove the bylaw that's site specific, but you can amend the existing and you can add to that list without necessarily going back to public consultation.
that we have the power to do that, but I'm not willing to do that. We have residents to account, to answer to. So I mean, we could, I mean, people are watching us right now. People might not be, but I mean, the reality is we could agree to something and I don't have the foresight to know what the residents or what some other member of the public thinks about it. So it's, yeah, I think it needs to go back to the public.
Also, just for clarity, when I reviewed the application initially, I did comment to the applicants that they should be more specific in what they're looking for, and they didn't want to do that at that time.
So, and I mean, it doesn't mean that it seems like we're acceptable to the possibility of changing it. We just want to have all the uses that you're agreeable, and it doesn't have to be one use, just make a list of whatever uses you want to put in there that are, it's not an abattoir or whatever. I think the public would be more content to know that as well. Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. I note on the application itself, page 48, there was a question with regard to the Ministry of Environment. It was left blank. Is there a reason why that question wasn't answered? Page 5 of the application itself.
The reason why it wasn't answered, I suppose we should have checked no, but there was no evidence of environmental sensitivity or contamination of the property, at least with the record before us. And,
right.
I mean, we have the confirmation from LRCA that there's no environmentally sensitive features around the in the property itself.
So, okay, so I think that council is receptive to this, I think, application, just knowing, having that listed expanded to just, you can add things you want, take things out, but it comes back to us in our August meeting.
I guess a procedure base, if we were to redo the public notice, what's the earliest we would have to post or update the signage?
I don't have a calendar in front of me right now, but we need to post notice 20 days prior to a meeting.
Are we 20 days? It's your next meeting.
August 6th. I would assume that it would be this Friday, would be my best guess, but it could be next Friday.
The 19th, so that,
Wait a second.
Yes, it's calendar days.
no, that won't be 20 days.
So
Tomorrow.
September, it would be going to a September meeting.
Or the end of, no, we have a meeting at the end of
23
August.
days.
Right, but
Oh.
but I still need time to prepare everything. So we would typically require that the application deadline be the Friday before the week that notice had to go out. So
Well, of course, you have to have the uses in that.
Absolutely. I don't even have the information yet. So if this was going to the August 6th meeting and meeting the 20-day requirements as per the way that we do the procedure in the office, we would have had all the information by last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking then at
September 10th.
September 10th meeting?
If, yes,
Yeah,
28th.
that's a morning.
it's a
meeting.
morning meeting, so they don't, the public can't always come at 9 in the morning. Yeah, it's unfortunate that the uses weren't changed.
Well, in fairness, the application was put in as is that this property has been used as heavy industrial for the last 35 plus years,
Yes.
right? And so it does strike me as reasonable that the application be made, and to your point, without limitations. The clients, I think on both ends of this discussion, would prefer to have the site-specific zoning bylaw as is removed and it be zoned heavy industrial. It is only because of the concerns that are raised that I can acknowledge that they're prepared to be, to work with council, and if that's the only way through, that they'll see a site-specific. But I don't want to lose sight of the fact that the ask is still there for it to simply be zoned heavy industrial. I appreciate the usage concern, but to the point that one of our neighbors made, folks do know who David Clara is. Hackwell has always been operating as a pit where they do extraction and they do crushing. The traffic study has been done. So in terms of the overall picture of the ask, you can still have a discussion on that. We don't necessarily have to lose sight. There's a timing factor here, and I think that that's what we're trying to salvage. And I appreciate that planning needs to do some things if we're going to change this about, but I wouldn't hate it if everyone had a further discussion about the original ask, which is to simply have this zoned as heavy industrial. Think about the things that are already taking place there. I mean, this is a heavy industrial area. I get it. Nobody wants an abattoir, but realistically speaking, will an abattoir ever be open there?
Oh, it's possible if it can be.
I don't know.
It can be, and
That's the problem.
even in.
Trust.
Yes.
Does it help if I tell you I live like a mile away from there?
And that, and
Yeah.
quite honestly, that is the concern of the residents, is because they're afraid if it's not taken off, then it might not be the present person who's going to buy it, but it could be 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, an abattoir pops up there. And that's
know.
why we want to have those things in there.
And I guess the other question, Council, then why have the HI designation? Why aren't we gonna go now to every industry in Oliver Papoonge and say, you know what? You've been this business for X number of years or whatever, so now you have to comply or
Prove to us.
that
That you're
you'll
not
only
gonna-
be using the property for a specific purpose. Why have the heavy industrial category otherwise?
But we have areas in the municipality that are zoned heavy industrial without any restriction, and that's understood by the residents that live close by, whether there are any residents close by. This particular lot had a restriction on it, and you're asking us to remove it. So that's what the issue is here.
Sure. The previous iteration of the property, if you look at the zoning, the site-specific bylaw, if you have it, it was changed in 1989 from an M3 heavy industrial. So it's going back to the original use, really, is what this application is before.
And we can't lose sight of the fact that the limitation that's on this property right now, that's the one activity that's not taking place there. No one is operating a wood chipping station there. The reason why the zoning bylaw was put in place in the first place, this limitation, was for some deal that was supposed to happen with Great Lakes back in the day, right? So I don't know, like, we're talking about removing a site-specific limitation that never came to fruition in the first place.
No, but the
Which
site.
perfectly illustrates the fact that you guys could tell us something's gonna happen there today and it might change. Because they came up with that in 1989 and it didn't actually go through, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't support unless
I
it's
can
more
understand the
specific.
frustration of,
Yeah.
because of the timing and, yes.
It's possible to have a special meeting
Special
ahead of
meeting.
time.
We can have a special meeting hitting the 20 days. That can happen between 2 meetings in July or August, I should say. It's allowed.
Could be something like mid-August.
Yeah.
Could be possible to get this together, what
Get the
what
20
you want.
days.
Get the 20 days, maybe, Tuesday, like the 20th or 21st is a Wednesday, something like that.
12th, 13th.
I think that's a little early, but
Well, it's up to how quickly the uses get to our planner and she can get the information out.
Yeah, well, I think if council's prepared to commit to that, without instructions today from our clients, we can probably work on a special meeting.
Mhm. Yeah, it wouldn't be a problem for us to call a special meeting. We always try for 3 meetings in the summer vacation and we never hit 3. We always hit 4 or 5.
Oh, we'll hold you folks to it.
we,
Yes,
we could do a resolution now to set a special meeting date.
That would be amazing.
we'd have to get our planner to
Okay.
formulate in her mind what she's going to require, as long as they come right away to work with you.
Essentially, I need 30 days from the point where I get all the information to when we have the meeting.
So in theory, if we had everything to you by the 19th, that's this Friday, right?
Mhm.
Then we could have the meeting by August 19?
1920th.
Yeah,
Certainly. Well, then
Well-
that's a Monday, but usually we go with the Tuesday.
So
So
we
the
go to the
20th.
20th, yeah.
We can set a meeting date right now for the 20th, but that's consistent with having all the information to our planner this week.
I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You just wait and see. Councillor Peacock, you had a question?
That'd be a morning or afternoon.
No, it would be evening.
Afternoon.
That's why. Well, we always will have something else that'll come up for us to discuss, is right. 20th, that's no problem. Okay, so we have a resolution for that. We will set that as our special meeting and you will have all the information to our planner before Friday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Problem?
Yeah, we'll just skip this.
We'll put it through.
We'll just do it.
Okay, so we'll just defer this at the time. Thank you very much. Okay, the next one is the tax ratios, rates and reductions. We have a resolution that's been moved and second in regards to the 24 tax ratios and tax rates. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Then we have a comment on Enbridge's base rebasing application phase 2. That resolution has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next resolution we have is an agreements, insurance indemnification policy / municipal property use. That resolution has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Is Councillor Peacock?
Can I ask about something with regard to the policy then? For this, for
That's
the
one-
agreements? Or that's the next one around?
That's a policy 01-3501.
Yes. On page 90, the last one, or the last item, it says users are required to provide proof of insurance to the municipality. Is there a deadline that information has to be provided to the municipality? And is it the CAO's responsibility to ensure that they're in compliance?
That idea about when the deadline is and so forth, that's kind of nitty gritty things that we wouldn't put in this policy. That would be in a form or something or other. We'll spell that type of stuff out. And yeah, it would be my responsibility to make sure that happens, to delegate it to the appropriate employees to get it done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Viss.
Yeah, just a comment, I guess, on the very last page, page 88, where it says, your solution does not mean that our municipal policy will never come into play, because they're always trying to say it's municipal problem and guaranteed that what they're going to do right off the bat. I mean, if that's been a known factor now, like if they can catch a municipality, because they always think they got the pockets, and so so where does that leave us?
Well, this is some added insurance and cushion if they have their own insurance.
Because then we'd have to have a lawyer to prove that's not our fault and do that, wouldn't we? Or we just pay the insurance, which is cheaper maybe.
It's all through the same insurance company. So if the claim comes through and it's something that the adjuster looks and says, well, that's the user's fault. Well, that's where it sits.
The user will be paid.
Well, you're right.
So we have two resolutions I see
I know.
here. First one's been moved and second that we recommend the policy and the agreements be approved, firstly. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then the second one is the authorization of the administration to enroll the municipality in the IPE Facility User Solution Insurance Program. Any questions? Yes. Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Page 93, excluding activities. Does this mean that stags and bachelor parties are no longer allowed, or that they have to get their own insurance?
They would still be allowed, but they would have to get their own insurance. This program won't do it for them. No.
Including boxing and climbing walls,
I
which
see
makes
that.
a lot of sense.
Just for clarification that we're going to pay the premiums till the end of this year. Starting if this is a pass today, anyone that rents the facilities, will we notify them coming next year that you will be paying that? Because at least then people are aware.
Yeah, definitely. We'd have to have a notice to the public, education of what's coming.
Yeah, you know, if you
Right.
inform them now,
Right. Some persons from their knowledge of renting other places will be familiar with it.
okay,
But we will have a, education going on what will be occurring and starting the new year.
good, thank you. I think that'd be a good thing to do.
But would we have an idea of how much more it's gonna cost them? I'm assuming to.
And use the rates in here and put a couple examples about what would be the prices for the insurance.
We are doing the 2 million, right? Not the 5.
That's correct. The policy's written for the 2 million.
Okay, any further questions? All in favor? Opposed? It's been carried. The administrative penalty bylaw approval and implementation, page 96 to 110. We have a resolution in regards to the administrative penalty. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions? No questions? So all in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then awarding the RFP 2024 Rescues 90 and 33. There's a resolution that's been moved and seconded in regards to awarding this contract, this RFP. Any discussions, any questions? Councillor Peacock?
Thank you. Just wondering, because that company is from out of town, was the RFP, did that include FOB Thunder Bay? Or will there be additional fees for shipping those vehicles here?
I'd have to talk to Brent with the specifics on that tender, but I believe they were shipped to Thunder Bay.
But how are we gonna accept this if we don't have that total number?
Well, I understand the shipping is included.
Yes, it should be.
That's what I believe. I only saw the packages this morning, so
I did ask the asset management coordinator about it when he was looking through these things, and he told me that does include the shipping.
Okay.
And
But
that's done.
But I just wanted to comment that the resolution has the wrong number in it. You see in the report, 111 there, the Battle Shield Industries 116901.6. We've got 233,803.2, so that's from some other competition.
I was just
So,
gonna say that's a big number.
Councillor Calvert and Councillor Viss approved this. I'm going to amend to the price we see here. Wait a minute, hold on, I'm mistaken. It's doubled. It's doubled.
Doubled.
Times two.
Oh,
Times two.
That's what I thought too when I read
Sorry.
it here.
Sorry, I'm not paying attention.
Okay. Was that, did that meet budget?
Give them for 116, we'll take
Oh, that's a heck of a deal.
it. We'll take it.
yeah, it's 100 and I put in 150 per vehicle.
Okay, so,
So it's under budget.
okay, so the resolution has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And now the awarding of RFQ 26-2024 in regards to fire caches. We have a resolution. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussions? No? All okay?
Money, so.
Okay, so
stuff that they need, so.
all in favor? Opposed? Carried. A new riding mower, 2024 general recreation capital budget. They would like to procure the zero-turn mower. Any discussion? This motion's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have an engagement on proposed modernization of the EMCPA. Emergency Management Ontario. Is that anything that we have, you have anything to say about that, John?
There are, I've had a quick peruse of the discussion guide and there is a Zoom information meeting. I think it was August 8th that I will be attending. to see where this is going.
Okay, yes.
I'm assuming you have no concerns with any of the proposals?
Not at this point, no, but I do need way more information on.
Yes.
I just wanted to comment, I looked through it as well, and it really doesn't have any proposals in it. It just says their objectives are to make things better, but it doesn't have any information about how it is right now and what.
That's right.
Yeah, so, it's almost like we need to look at the act itself and go through it and see what things we think need to be altered to make it work better, and from our experiences, what might be missing and how the systems work now.
On focus 3, enhancing coordination between the government and the emergency management partners. What's missing? What's not working? What are lacking? Why do you have a focus on that? What, is there something that sticks out that's not working?
Well-
There's nothing that glaringly sticks out, but there's always challenges with growing pains and changes and processes and things like that. So
So you feel you don't get that information quickly or properly or whatever is, or
no,
like it just says like, enhance coordination, like you almost, well, what are we missing here? That's not
Well,
right.
as the fire chief said, he hasn't gone into this. He's going to report to it later. There's no resolution. It's just
yeah,
letting you know that
and
it's
like-
there.
Like Wayne's comment, the guide is really a lot of words on a bunch of pieces of paper that it's like, where is this going? So I'm hoping the meeting on the August 8th gives some more direction as to what this is all about.
That's workable for you people. You gotta work with it, so.
Okay, so now we have reports of committees, the Thunder Bay District Health Unit minutes and the District Thunder Bay Social Services Administration Board minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
That's okay. I'm just wondering how this, getting back to the Treasury Board Secretary at Emergency Management Ontario, how does that, reflect with the other departments in the joint, fire department, emergency that we're, working together with the other municipalities as far as firefighting, et cetera?
Yeah, so this is emergency management from the municipal standpoint of not necessarily fire, but
Mhm.
any emergency.
Mhm.
So I guess down the road, there would be some work to share services with respect to emergency management, but this is really out of the scope of the shared services project. But
Okay.
I will say that I'm getting a lot of these. All of the governments are starting to really realize that they're behind on a lot of things, and they've got a lot of people working for them. Might be saying things out of turn a bit, but they're generating all these studies and surveys and how do we improve things. And August 8th, this emergency management one is going on, but the first hour and a half is about the Forest Fire Prevention Act and how they want to modernize how they're dealing with wildland fires. So there's a lot of these things coming out with just reviewing what's going on, basically.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Just one item, I have one item under the mayor's report. It's something we discussed previously, and that was the staff appreciation lunch at the Legion. My thought was, and I brought it both to the CAO and to Carrie, and I'm bringing it out to council, is that we have the meal, I would suggest at from 2 till 4 or whatever. And that people will put a sign on the door there, says we're closed from 2 o'clock on, let them have their lunch and let them go home. To have them go back here for a half an hour, even if you have lunch from 1 to 3, I'm sorry, talking about me, I'm not going to be doing very much when I get back. So I think to show appreciation to the staff, unless you want to have it start at 1 o'clock, that doesn't, the reason I'm saying is once it's over, once they've had their lunch, go home, enjoy the rest of the day with your family. And I'm just asking if council feels that's okay. Your comments. He's got conflict of interest, so.
Well, there could be some people that just skip the lunch and go home right off the bat. That's
They have to, we're gonna take it.
Yeah.
That's right. We could have someone at the door ticking off your name and making sure you show up.
I think, you know, if we're gonna give
You're
time
right.
off, then at least they, you know,
Come for the lunch.
either that or they don't
Exactly.
appreciate what we're doing, well, then just cancel the whole thing.
Mhm.
No, you can, I understand that. You have to
Yeah.
show up for the lunch. That's what we're doing for you, but we're giving you a little extra hour or so off and go home, just cook the dinner. No, you have to, you're restricted to being there at least half an hour.
Have to go.
But, no, I just think it would be fair.
It's time to get out the door.
Yeah, grab your bag and go.
We'll put a tripwire at the door. If you leave too soon, we'll trip you and everything will fall out of your bag. Yes.
Did we have a date at all that?
No,
had
that'll be
defined?
the
Okay.
next one. I think we looked at 2 dates in September. We can meet, so I'll go through them right now.
Second and third week.
Yeah, 12th.
The 13th or the 27th?
Thought it was
Can't have it on Friday.
That was a
Wayne's
Thursday.
not here.
Thursday.
12th or the
Sorry.
19th.
I'm sorry, 12th or 26th,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, you can pick whichever one. If anybody has the date, that doesn't work for them, but
26 wouldn't work for me.
pardon?
26th, I'm gone out of town.
Oh, well.
Well, I'll save us one lunch.
There we go.
We can do it the 12th too. It's entirely up to the administration to pick a date. If you don't come, we're not
That's okay.
appreciating you.
That's right. Like going that way.
Okay, so as long as council has no objection, then
What time is this going to be?
start at 2. I don't know, whatever you think. It's called, what's it called?
A brunch?
Yeah, lunch and supper.
Yeah,
Lupper.
Lupper, a Lupper or a London. London was mine, lunch and dinner.
Or 1:30?
You could do 1:30.
Yeah, one.
1:30.
30's fine too, then they can
People
have-
get a little hungry, you know?
You might get a little hungry. I
Yeah.
know they might get temperamental, so 1:30 is fine. You could start at 1. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Doesn't
okay,
matter.
that's fine.
12?
12th. Okay.
You go to 26th, doesn't matter.
And if I'm not incorrect, was it beef on a bun, onion rings, French fries, and Caesar salad? Okay, I'm trying to, I think that's what it was last year. Okay, then it'll be the same menu. That'd be no problem. Okay. Alrighty, I don't know if you have to do that at the next meeting is closed, do a thing to close the office, but
Yeah.
do it at the next meeting. Okay. Authorize, we now have the bylaws. We have a bylaw moved and seconded to authorize levy and collection of taxes. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next item is the bylaw for setting the tax ratios and the tax rate reductions. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Then we have the ZBLA 05-2024 accessory building bylaw. Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the Berry Drive, 144 Berry Drive bylaw. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next one will be deferred. And then we have the agreement of the OFC with the region, in regards to the Regional Training Center. That bylaw has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have the bylaw for agreements, insurance, indemnification, municipal property use policy. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have the bylaw in regards to administrative penalty. Any further discussion? The bylaw has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We now have a resolution that's been moved and seconded, asking for permission to sell tickets in our municipality for the Heimers Agricultural Society. It's a 50-50 draw. It's open for discussion. Yes, Councillor Campoff.
I certainly don't have an issue with the application or the applicant. Yeah, the license fee is only $3. That hasn't changed in a while, I'm guessing. Wow. So Shockingly good deal.
Especially since there's no pennies anymore.
Yeah. Wow.
To be 3%.
I don't. Anyways, we'll have administration relook at that for the future in the applications. Again, we have the resolution. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed, carried. We had administrative monetary penalty system, the Green Roads pilot project, and sustainability of infrastructure funding for small rural municipalities. Regulations for importation, the safe use of lithium ion batteries, Community School Alliance. They are again still looking for some people who are willing to take part of that committee or group, and then the sustainable funding for OPP small rural municipalities. Is there any of those that you would like to comment on, or? And for information only, the Planning Act and Development Charges Act regulations. Amos 2023. Oh, yes, did you have one?
There was something.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not finding it at the moment, but guess my pages are stuck together. But there was something about the request regarding recycling. Had to do with recycling. I thought it was on this
I
agenda.
don't think I've seen it here yet. Not recycling.
Well, maybe it was coming up on the next meeting, so
Okay.
we'll just have to skip it for now.
Yeah, alrighty. And then Amos 2023 annual report and the Canadian Emergency Preparedness and Climate Adaptation Convention. And the Thunder Bay Police Services / the shift. And the next one, it was a new item, that was the letter from Tammy Cook in regards to the 70th anniversary celebration event. If you wish to attend, you've all received invitations.
Thursday, 3 to 8.
Alrighty. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Peacock.
Sorry, go ahead,
Wayne.
Mr. Hendry.
Okay.
Just with regard to page 184, the Planning Act Development Charges and Act Regulations recurring related to cutting red tape for Build More Homes Act. Does any of that affect our municipality in any way? Is there something that we need to be doing on our end?
There was a report that came to council last month that explained all of the Bill 185 changes. So you can't appeal zoning or official plan amendments anymore. I don't have all the information in front of me, but it was in the last council package.
You had something?
Yes, what we want to take a look at is on page 9 of your agenda. Under 10B, administrative monetary penalty system. This came from the Township of Puslinch, and what they were asking about is back in 2017, there was a plan to have the administrative monetary penalty system allowed for Ontario Building Code, which would be something we should support.
This guy right here.
Something that I think council should support.
So it'll be at our next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, that's part of that new bylaw we're putting through. That's why I was thinking you could add other stuff to it, eh?
Mhm.
As an administrative penalty, you don't, it's not just restricted to that.
That's right.
Yeah, the issue that we have now with the OBC, when you try to enforce it, it's a very cumbersome. You have to go through the Provincial Offences Act, timely, time consuming, etc. The administrative monetary penalty system is being used in a few different applications, and you can have a penalty notice and people having to deal with fines right away.
Right away. Okay. John?
That is also getting discussed in the fire world to help with fire code enforcement.
Okay, good. Okay, any other item for discussion? New business, Counselor Viss?
Yes, I have. And I think everyone got the call. I got a call from Mr. Rosengren if this council would entertain reducing the principal house square footage from 800 some to what he's talking to me about, to a tiny house. If that's a tiny house at 40%, you're looking at 500 some square feet. And all I said to him, I said, well, I don't know. He asked me why we have it. And I said, well, that's been years since that 800 been in, not that I can remember. And why are we the only ones that have it? And I said, well, right now, the reason it is, each resident is assessed. And that brings in tax dollars, in turn, that covers our infrastructure cost. And he said, well, how come Shunya, Conmee and O'Connor don't have that in there? They can have those small homes. I said, I don't have an answer to that. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I do. I don't have all the answers because you see, he said to me, he said, well, you can do double the number of houses with tiny houses and come to the same amount. But you see, you gotta be so careful when somebody talks to you because all of a sudden, wait a minute, where you going? So I said, I'll get back, I'll bring it to council where it goes. So I called Wayne and I said, Wayne, I'm gonna bring this up. After that, when I start looking at home, our residential assessment is 12.6 million. So if you want to drop that by 40%, if you go to a tiny home, so that would have been my answer to him. But you see, at the time, you're caught up. So I guess the question is, and I asked Wayne if he knew, why does O'Connor or do O'Connor, Conmee and Shunya have it? And I have no idea. I had no answer for him. But is council interested in reducing the square footage for a principal resident? Because I'm gonna call him back on Friday, either yes or no. And Wayne did dig out for me, very thankful for that, because I'm gonna use that. That said, that we denied that request back in 2022, yeah. So that's my answer to him and say, and I understand then council is still of the same opinion. So my answer on when I call him back and say, council is staying where we're at. You've been told that, you have that in writing, and so, okay, that's all I have.
We have changed the footage on an accessory building.
Yeah.
We just did that
Correct.
now. So that can be changed, but not the prime residence. Yes.
I just wanted to comment that an accessory building can be the Ontario Building Code minimum standard, which is 17.5 square meters. So if you think of, which is 188 square feet, so 188 square foot dwelling as opposed to a 160 foot dwelling, that's a lot of difference in assessment.
But that's an accessory building only.
That's right, and as we noted, Carrie wrote that report for March, or it was in April. The Ontario did not say you have to have tiny homes as principal dwellings. That's not true. So they can be used here as accessory dwellings. There's no minimum size for an accessory dwelling. But if you want to have a principal dwelling, it's 860 square feet.
Plus, you're required to have a building permit and your septic system and well, all to be approved by the different ministries.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's all I have, Madam Chief.
Okay. Just asking, is there anybody wanting to review this again or go through it again, or still are okay with the no that we had in April? Yeah.
That's all I need to know, and I give them the answer.
Sure, yes.
If we were going to revisit that, as we talked about, we have those issues. So we have the minimum lot sizes. That's not something the council said, let's do it. The provincial government is telling us rural areas, you gotta have large lots.
Right. Yeah,
And,
5
you know,
acres.
that's, they don't want the intensification in the rural areas. And the other aspect of it is you need to have enough land to have proper water and septic. So unless we can sort out what we're gonna do with those things, trying to go to a smaller size dwelling size is problematic. How do you do that? And we wouldn't even be able to entertain that until the province settles the PPS. It's still up in the air. You know, we have to redo our official plan. We need to do our official plan to deal with the 2HA and the 4HA. And right now the province hasn't done their PPS, so we can't really move anywhere with that.
Okay. Okay, so Councillor
Well,
Calvert.
here's my thing too, and I had a conversation too, phone call like everyone else probably. And he said, we put in the septic, we put in the hydro. And I said, well, I guess you put the cart before the horse, and if you've done all that. And, you know, and not put a quote unquote legal conforming building. And his comment was that he was told he'd be allowed to do it. That's what that's what he said. He said that he was told that it would be acceptable. So anyways, I said, well, I guess it's not. So this is where it is right now. So but I can't figure out how, like, you put in your septic and you put in like hydro, how is that even possible without having a building? Like,
So in order to apply for a building permit,
Yeah.
you would come in with your septic permit from the health unit. You would come in with a well tag, proof of your well, because we need both of those things to meet requirements of the Ontario
Mhm.
Building Code to build. So he can do it without the different areas
but
contacting
on the
us.
building permit, it doesn't say what kind of house you're building,
Yes, it does.
and
We did get a permit from him. We never had an application from him. So I had the same conversation.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out that there's a well and septic there. So, I mean, anyone can put those things in on their property with the intent of building at some point. How they applied to the health unit for a septic, you could apply for a tiny home to the health unit. The health unit doesn't confirm with us if
Mhm.
that's okay or not. We get the permit, check it, make sure it's suitable, and can issue permits that way. So I have no idea
yeah. So
what type of
so
septic exists.
there was no permit though that stated on there that he had it, like, this is the house he was building or nothing then.
I don't know. I
Oh.
don't know what kind of application was submitted to the health unit in order to get the septic that they have.
That's, I mean, like, yeah. You're when you go to the health unit, they'll tell you like how many square foot your house, that determines what kind of field you need, doesn't that?
Absolutely.
So,
But the health unit doesn't have to check with us.
so that's, I mean, it just seemed like that it was going in reverse order there, like. Anyway, so
Okay,
that was the end of my.
did you have any new Wayne?
I just wanted to comment that there's an industrial property in our municipality where a similar type thing happened. The NECP approved an ECA increasing the capacity of the property, and they never contacted us. It wasn't in the zoning, so things like that happened. The health unit, yeah, they may have provided a permit, but they didn't question us at all about what they were up to.
That's right. Yes.
And also, when this all first came to council, probably a couple years ago, the owner disclosed that their intent was to build a house. So it's possible that the septic that they installed is for this future home. But again, we don't know because we've never seen a permit.
First application was for a temporary.
They never applied. They came to council with a zoning amendment application to allow the tiny home on that property, which was denied. But we have never seen an application for anything after that. So.
Okay. Did you have any other new business?
Oh, that's enough.
No, you didn't have a new business? Councillor Peacock, any new business?
Yes, a couple of questions. Thank you. I did receive a positive comment with regard to Roslyn Road. Residents are very happy with the improvements that were made on the road. Just wondering if there is any further consideration with regard to a stop sign at the corner of Roslyn and Vibert. I said to him that I did bring it up in the past, and the director of operations said no, possibly one at the library exit, but I didn't know for sure if that was put up.
That was at a previous meeting, and I
Mhm.
don't think that the director of operations had a report, but he had done. If
They
I,
had done a count.
yeah, they had
setting
done a
up
count, and
vehicles
the,
wasn't sufficient.
yeah, the volume of traffic did not warrant having a three-way stop.
Okay,
It would not be sensible to slow down the east-west traffic there.
and in the same regard, has a follow-up been sent with regard to the resident who was interested in going on the water system? In speaking with him, he hasn't received any information, so just wondered.
Yeah, I
Building.
called them and I never got a return call, so the ball's in their court.
Okay. The newsletter last month had an indication, a notice provided by the municipality that said that we aren't responsible for the recycling anymore. It's gone to Circa.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I was wondering, are blue bags accepted in our recycling now? I know that they aren't in the city and they're using the same company as far as the recycling. Can our residents continue to use the blue bags for their recycling?
Well, I understand they can.
Okay,
That's what I understand. The director of operations is not here to tell me different,
okay.
but that's what I understand. But the city, they have eliminated the bags.
Mhm. So at the previous meeting as well, I had asked if we would be able to provide residents with a information package as far as what is recyclable and what isn't and things like that. And just wondering if that's still on the radar to be done, and as a handout when you're asked your number at the landfill, or a notice in the newsletter, something just to bring people up to speed as to what is required for recycling. And one other question, will the financial statements to the end of June be available for the August 6th meeting? Treasurer's not here to.
We will see.
I don't think so. No. He's working on the year end right now, so I don't think that would be possible to get that together. But again, he's not here to advise us what he thinks.
Okay, Councillor Campo? Nothing? Okay. Nice, Sean?
Just a couple of updates. I did have a chiefs meeting and this LRNC shared services. Very productive meeting, talking about the bylaws. We're actually put together a draft template to get all the municipalities on the same page with bylaws. So still a lot of work to do. We'll come to you guys obviously, but it was a very positive meeting. So I'm happy about that. Talk about the extrication from the other colonies, and there is a $30 million grant for fire service, for municipal fire services. It's 10 million over the years. Townhouse last week talked about it, and the application's open on the 18th apparently, with the deadline of November 5th, I think, the applications. And the money has to get spent within this fiscal year. There's gonna be a mad dash to be able to application grant. It is that funding portal.
Never works.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. The focus is on cancer. 4 buckets of money. 3 of them have to do with cancer prevention. So supplies for cancer prevention, like wipes and stuff like that. PPE for things like improved hoods, bunker gear, stuff like that, including cleaning equipment. extractors. And the third cancer one is improvements to stations under the umbrella of cancer prevention. So, for example, installing showers and stations and like that. And then there's a fourth pool for improvements that have to do with internet can come. So I've already engaged all the surrounding municipalities so we can together and united front. We're getting encouraged by the OFM to get applications in, shoot for the stars, make sure that the government knows that this is and people are going after it. Another 10 million next year. Don't know what that parameter is going to be.
Good.
They're talking about dollar figure by station opposed to per capita. But we have 60,000 stations plus the money. So shooting high, we're talking about the officer unit.
It's not a new fire hall. There's no money for that, right?
No, they were kind of looking at, shoot for 8,000 to 10,000 per station. And it's not rebuilding an entire station, but if you had an entire station in the books, wanted to add a decontamination room that wasn't part of it, that would qualify. So there's a lot of opportunity on
But
this.
that also puts us in between the rock and a hard spot because you haven't got this, or the study is just going to happen now with
Yeah, for us, and this is very high level, throwing the darts at the wall, I'm looking at putting in for hours at
Mhm.
ready room to have, a washroom and a stall, and putting 2 more in there because I'm looking at like second sets of bunker gear for the people in that stuff bad so that they're not out of commission for 3 days while they're
Right.
and I'm looking for a bunch of lamination equipment.
Okay,
There'll be a lot of stuff in there.
perfect.
I'm gonna give them lots and they tell me what I don't get.
That's right. Ask for lots, maybe you'll get some. Perfect. Okay, so I have a resolution moved and seconded that we will resolve into closed session, time being 7:17 PM. We will take a 5-minute break. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We'll wait till we're open.
Yeah, we're.
Okay. Ready to have a,
Get the microphone, yeah.
have it on. I have a resolution that the moved and seconded that the minutes of the closed session meeting held on June 26th be presented or held earlier on this date in July 16 be approved. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And I have, was there anything else that had came out of the meeting? No? Okay. I have a resolution confirming the meeting that took place this evening. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we have a resolution moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting 8:18 PM. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.